So today I'm going to do a video on how to use the pendulum, and I'm going to show you two different ways of using the pendulum. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and let's get straight to it. Now, the first way of using the pendulum is to use the pendulum as a form of divination to answer yes or no questions. So I've got 3 pendulums here that I use often. Now, some people like the wooden ones, some people like the rose quartz, some people like the amethyst. It really makes no difference what, even the wooden ones, it makes no difference which pendulum that you like to use. Just use the one that you're drawn to. And sometimes I haven't had my pendulum on me and I've used this often. So even a necklace with something that hangs off it, you know, this is round and it works for me perfectly. So really you can use anything as a pendulum in a moment of need. But if you've got one at home, then obviously it's really nice to use the one that you have. So I'm going to use this one, which is the pink quartz, rose quartz. And before you use the pendulum, we just want to silence ourselves for a moment. So that means when we pray, we kind of talk to God and the universe, or whatever word you prefer to use. For the sake of this video, let's just use the word universe. So praying is connecting to the universe. Meditation is listening. So when we meditate, we tend to listen to the universe. But when we take a moment of silence, we're doing both. We're kind of connecting ourselves to hear and to speak to the universe. And that's what we want. It doesn't matter how noisy it is on the outside, whether there's cars or children screaming and playing. It's what's going on the inside. So just take a moment to say, I'm going to work now with the pendulum. I want to connect to the universe, to the universal energy around me, or to the spirits around me, to my guides, however you'd like to form the petition. And then once you're speaking to them, just calm yourself, say, I'm ready to work. And then we begin. So first of all, when we start with the pendulum, we want to program it every time we use it, because it can change every time you pick up the pendulum. It can change. Well, every time you use it, it can change. So you want to know a yes and a no. So for example, I'm going to do this just for the sake of the video. Is my name Gaynor? Okay. So that today would be a yes. And when you change a question, just stop it and then restart again. Is my name Alexandra? And now it's going in the opposite direction. So I know today that direction is a no. And then sometimes you may get something that isn't one way or another, and that could be, I don't know. And maybe it's just showing you that the pendulum can't answer that question. So if all of a sudden the pendulum was going like this, because I know it's not the yes or the no, then I know that's saying, well, I don't know. I don't know what that means. Also, be very, very careful when you ask a question of a yes or no, which is what the pendulum is mainly used for, because you want to make sure it is a question that can be answered with a yes or a no. For example, is my name Gaynor? Yes or no. But what's my name? The pendulum won't be able to answer that. So always make sure you go for a proper question of yes or no. And then what we're doing, we're getting our questions and we're asking question by question, and in the middle we're stopping the pendulum. Now, a lot of people swear that they're not moving the pendulum. I had never moved it. I didn't move it. I swear to you, I didn't move it. I didn't move a muscle. But unfortunately, I don't want to burst your bubble, but the chances are that you probably did move it. Because what happens with the pendulum is we're connecting with our intuition. We're connecting to that energy that we talked about earlier, the guide, the spirit, the universal energy. We're connecting to them. In my case, I normally work with my guide, with Michael, my guide. And what happens is he will be giving me the answers. Now, I may not hear them answers, I may not even feel the answers, but somehow he's telling them answers to my subconscious, and that's what's moving this. So I'm clearly not deliberately moving it when I do it really, like not for the video, but when I do it really, I'm not deliberately moving. I'm trying my hardest to keep it still. You know, I'm like, I'm almost frozen to not move it, but there is a message that's being sent to me, and that's telling me which way to move the pendulum. Now, a lot of good things have come out of the pendulum, but I feel that more than answering the yes or no questions, which is great fun, I feel it's more of one of those arts that just allow us to communicate and connect and just be at one with spirit for a little bit of time. So if you spent half an hour a day with the pendulum, you're spending half an hour a day connecting to spirit and communicating with spirit. And whether you see it or you hear it or you don't, but they're actually communicating with you and helping you move your minute little subconscious mini millimeter just to answer that question. So that would be the first way that I use the pendulum, to connect with spirit and let them guide me, and however it moves, that I'm just going to have to trust that it wasn't me doing it deliberately, that it was spirit that was putting a message in there, and the signal was going to my hand and going yes or no. The signal was the answer. I think it's a beautiful method to work with spirit using the pendulum, and it's very relaxing, sat there asking questions. Obviously try and find questions that are empowering and good questions, and not, you know, petty kind of questions. Something a little bit more empowering is also going to empower you a bit more. So I do love working with a pendulum. I don't do it enough actually lately with so much work on, but I really do enjoy working with the pendulum in that form. And remember, the pendulum itself isn't magical, but it is an energy. I mean, this is a rose quartz, and that's got its own energy. It'll have its own vibe, and it'll be extremely, you know, the energy for that will be connected. Anything's got an energy, especially a quartz and a precious stone. So just remember that you're also going to get the vibe from the pendulum, because it is something that's got its own energy. And now we're going to talk about the second way of working with a pendulum, and that is to check out our chakras. Now, this is a really exciting way of working with a pendulum. And all we're going to do, we're going to choose a pendulum. Now, I'm going to do this for the sake of the video, so you're going to see how I'm moving it deliberately. Now, again, we want to center ourselves, take that moment of silence where we can listen and speak to the spirit world. I would call upon my guide to come and help me. And we're going to imagine this guy here. He's sat here like this, and we'll just call him whatever. Let's call him Jack for the sake of the video. Everybody has 7 chakras. And these chakras are quite big energy vortices that come out of our body, and they're the same at the front as they are at the back. So we've got these 7 major chakras that are quite well known, and if you do healing, you would have probably learned about the chakras. They're constantly spinning. But apart from them being the 7 main chakras that are spinning, we also have 2 chakras on our hands, in the centre of our palms, and we have little chakras on our fingers, and we have them on the sole of our feet. So we've got a few other chakras going on in our body. Now let's just get Jack and let's lie him down, pretend he was a real person. And what I would do is I would get my pendulum, once I've centered myself and connected to my pendulum, and the energy from this pendulum will find Jack's energy. So let's go here to this chakra here. Now obviously this is a cloth, so it's not going to work, but I'm going to move it anyway. Now once you find the energy, you can feel like it being drawn, like it's being pulled. You can actually feel the pull. Now Jack's energy should be moving in a clockwise direction like that, which I've just done myself by moving my fingers. Now, if we was to find that doing Jack's energy circle, it's moving anti-clockwise, then there's something going on there. We need to do some healing on his chakra to get his energy levels moving correctly. Or he may be having a blockage, which can often be that way, where it's just going across. So it's not moving in the right direction. The right direction would be a clockwise direction like that. Anything else could mean that there's a blockage going on. A lot of people in the chakras, they have them very, very dull. So they're moving in the right direction, but they're just barely moving. You can see the chakras are very closed. So that would be the point then of putting your energy, your healing energy onto Jack's chakras, and then we're going to kind of allow our energy field to fix his energy field. So you can do your Reiki healing, you can do spiritual healing, you can just do chakra healing. Whatever kind of energy healing you do, this is a good way to know where to start with the chakras. The other thing maybe, not only are a lot of people's chakras very, very quiet and very dim, like this, but a lot of people's are absolutely mental. They go crazy. These chakras are going round and round and round and spinning round. And that again can be a problem. Somebody with so much energy open, so much energy moving around, it can really give you a headache if you're a medium, but it's not good for them neither. Too much energy is not good for them. So if I was to say to Jack, lie down, Jack, and I'm going through his chakras and I see one that's going crazy, then I know that I've got to work on that chakra. If it's blocked, then I would work on that chakra also. Now we would do this with every one of the main 7 chakras in somebody's body. So we do it on the top of the head, we do it on the throat chakra, and we would do it on everyone. And you may find that they're all really good and they don't need any healing, they don't need nothing. A lot of people's are perfect, but you may find that there's just 1 or 2 that's got blockage. And you can really find out a lot about a person and what's going on in their life by doing this, and then seeing where the blockage is and why they've got that blockage. And it can be a big reflection of something that they've got going on in their life. So once you've found out, okay, this chakra's blocked, this one's going crazy, and that one's just got no energy whatsoever, then use your healing energy, use your energy from your palms, and then work on your client to get your energy to fix their energy. So that's a really simple, quick way of explaining it to you. But that is basically the best way to use a pendulum for healing, is to let the energies vortex, let the energy systems, the chakras, move the pendulum. Now in this case, again, you might think, well, am I moving it again? Well, maybe you are moving it. Maybe, again, spirit are working with you, saying, move it quicker, look, there's a blockage here, this one's wrong. Maybe that's happening. But because we've got somebody real, well, we would have somebody real, and their energy's coming from their body and their chakra is open, you'll feel it. You'll feel the pull in the pendulum. You'll know that actually what's moving it here isn't my hand, it's actually their energy system is pulling on my pendulum. So you're connecting the pendulum to their energy. So that's a really good way of working with the pendulum for somebody's energy system. This is the best setup I could think about to do this. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you got the gist of it. Obviously, if it was somebody, I would get them to lie down. You can do some healing on yourself as well, some chakra work on yourself as well. You can lie down in bed and check out your own chakras as much as possible. You can also work on your chakras in your hands, and see your energy, how your energy system's going in your hands. So there's a lot of ways that you can use it on yourself also. You can use it on anything that's alive. You can even use it on a plant to see the energy system of a plant, and do that with several plants just to get to know the vibration that plants give off and how their energy normally is. And have fun. More than anything, have fun. Take it as time to connect with spirit, time to just connect with your guides, your spiritual guides, your angels, whatever it is you work with. Just take that time every day to work with them. And if you can fix somebody's chakras along the way and let their energy be a lot more healthy, a lot more well-being on their part, then that's even better. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.